G'day people, I'm Monsterdad and welcome to this Empyrion tutorial. What? Monsterdad's doing a tutorial, I hear you say? Yes, I am. I thought this one was really needed. Alpha 9's just hit the streets, as you're probably aware, with some pretty big changes, again, by Empyrion. They continue to make this game pretty awesome, and I hope you're all having an awesome day as well. But one of the big changes is logistics system. And I have to admit, it took me a little while to get my head around it. Maybe I was being a bit stupid, maybe not. But I thought, well, you know, if I am struggling to get my head around this, maybe a few other people are as well. So I thought, well, this one does definitely deserve a pretty good tutorial. So here I am. I'm in my creative game. This is one of my buildings behind me, the showroom I call it, because I thought it looked like a vehicle showroom after I finished it. But yeah, listen to the sound of those waves. Beautiful. Okay, so I haven't done anything inside this building. I just sort of like put a bed there and left it as it is. But yeah, I like how it's turned out. Anyway, I'll pop over here. I don't know why I'm running. I'm in creative. Okay, so brilliant addition to the game, I've got to say. Inventory management in this game I think has always been a bit cumbersome, and this really helps to sort that out. I've got to admit, I still think it needs a bit more refining. A few more things need to be done to it to make it even better, but yeah, what an improvement. Definitely a step in the right direction. So I'm going to pop some things into my inventory and I'll show you what this logistics system is all about. Let me just pop some power onto this little base I've got here. Go on. Boom. Awesome. Done. Okay, so this hover vessel here I've just built as well, and it does have the new logistics system fitted into this also. And yeah, we'll get to that bit in a minute. So what do we need for this logistics system? Well, the crux of it is that it's pretty much doing away with your basic storage system. So what we've got now is a storage controller box, and I'm going to pop two of these down at the moment. Now they have their own dedicated storage. Press F. As you can see, it has an 8,000 capacity storage just on its own. What we can do then is add storage extensions to this, and I'll explain what the controller box does in just a second. So we can pop two of those on there and have a look at this. The storage is now 24,000. So each one of these is, if my maths is correct, 8,000. So I'll pop a couple more onto this one as well. And you can put as many of these as you wish. In the past, what I've done with my storage is I've had a big row of storage boxes, and I'll put an LED on it, label it, you know, this is my ingots, etc., blah blah blah. What this does is gives you the ability to separate storage, but also increase the size of that storage. So I could have this one for ores, and I could just keep extending this all the time so I could get as much storage as I need in there to pile all my ores into it. Then I could have a separate one for, I don't know, ingots. So why? That's the question. Why do we do this? Well, what I'm going to do is pop down this little beauty, which is basically a Wi-Fi connector, and that has a range of about 110 meters. So if I now press F4, this is just called the base, and there's my hover vessel there. So we'll stick to the base. So we've got two container controllers, that one and that one. So what I'm going to do is rename these so you can see them more clearly on my screen. So they come up as cargo boxes as normal. You don't see the separate storage units. So let's put this cargo 1. Genius. Genius labelling. And no prizes for guessing what I'm going to call this one. Cargo 2. So if we press F4 again to access the remote inventory system, we can now see them both, Cargo 1 and Cargo 2. So that's the real basic of accessing excuse me, the remote storage. Put the controller box. You can add any number of storage units to these controller boxes you wish. You can rename to what you want, and if you've got your Wi-Fi connection, you can press F4 and you can access these boxes remotely. And from there, you can change this to player. I can then pop things into it. Pop all of those into there. Or I could change that to the base. Make sure I'm cargo box 2 here, and I could swap things between them if I wish to. And so on and so forth. So it's a storage unit. You can access it remotely. You can swap things between you and it, and between them remotely as well. So that's a really useful inventory management system as far as I'm concerned. But wait, there's more. There sure is. So what we can also do with this is access these systems to build. Where did I put those? Okay, so let's connect to cargo box 1. My toolbar's turned yellow, which means anything I put in my toolbar now will belong to this cargo box, essentially. So it won't be in my inventory. It still remains in the inventory of this cargo box, but I can access it. So let's pop those down and build something with those. So let's extend our little base for a little bit here. So I'll pop some of those down. Pop another controller box down this end, and a few extensions. There we go. So if I now disconnect to that base, as you see in my toolbar, all that has disappeared from my inventory toolbar. It's not in my inventory either, because it never was. It's still in cargo box 1, which is where it's returned to. And that is a fantastic thing, I think, because your toolbar, you can only fit 9 things. You've usually got a weapon and a couple of tools down there as well, so you only end up fitting like 4 or 5 things that you can build with at any one time. With this system, you can run around your base and you can grab all the stuff you need without having to keep going back and forward for cargo boxes. It's such a time saver. Very, very useful. It also means that your limited amount of cargo capacity in your backpack doesn't get full. I've currently got 38,500 because I've got all this stuff in here. But that doesn't really matter unless you turn on the weight management system in the YAML file, and their latest update, there's a line in there that tells you how to do that if you do wish to turn that on. But if you do, it's going to limit the amount of stuff you can carry, and therefore this system would be even more important. But either way, useful anyway. So yeah, there we go. That is the basic setup for it, but you could do so much more with it as far as I'm concerned. And I've been playing around with this system. So what I'm going to do now is, actually I've put them back in the storage unit, so I'm going to access this. Cargo box 1, I'm going to connect to that one. Oh, a quick tip. One thing it took me ages to find out is when you connect remotely, and to connect remotely you just connect, it's a wireless connection, Elion, a wireless connection, you don't plug in. Okay, just thought I'd point that out, you know, just saying. But in this case you do actually plug it in together for a wireless connector. So I've connected to cargo box 1 because that's the one highlighted on the left here, and down the bottom there you'll see the base that I'm connected to and the box I'm connected to. Important you look at it there, because as soon as you press escape that will disappear. Right, so if I get my multi-tool in hand and I retrieve a block, boom, the block's not in my inventory. So if I press F4, we should see that that block has gone directly into cargo box 1. Yeah, because that's the one I'm connected to. So if you've got a lot of these boxes in situ in your base, and you start picking stuff up like that, you might lose where it's gone, or you might have to search around for it. Just remember which box you're connected to. I probably would advise having like a goods in box that you connect to if you're out and about collecting stuff. So that'll be with anything you collect, it will go direct to the cargo box. Okay, so that's that little bit. Let's disconnect from this for just a moment. Even though we're not connected remotely, we can still access it remotely. Connected remotely means that when you're picking things up, they'll go directly to the box. You're not connected, which we're not now, boom, that block will go into our inventory. So that's the difference between being connected remotely and just being able to access them from a distance. Okay, so that's that basic setup. So let's have a look at the UI for it, the user interface. This bit confused me a little bit as well. Again, probably because I'm just being a bit dumb. But so you can swap between the different things that have remote connections and cargo boxes here. So I can access my HV here, and I've sorted out some different things on that one at the moment. And the things that will show up on the left here is anything that has a storage capability. So that's why the fridge is on there. These other things are simply cargo boxes. They're two basic cargo boxes. That's your ammo box, and that is the harvest box, or container controller all on wood. That's what they call it now, not a harvest box. So yeah, they're all things with storage on my HV, so I can see all of those on there, and I got nothing in any of them, I don't believe. No, so I can't actually access anything anyway. So let's go back to the base. So on this side, like I said, you can change things on this side. So I could swap things between my base and my HV, which is really useful. I want to move some food to the fridge before I go out on a mission, etc., or some meds. Again, access any of those, or I can move something from the base to me, to my inventory, or to my hotbar, and vice versa. You can shift things the other way. So yeah, and you can shift all as well. So as I said, took a few minutes to get my head around this one, but really, really useful inventory management system once you get the hang of it. A little bit frustrating at first, which is why I'm doing this, because I'd hate for other people to become frustrated with it and give up on it, because don't give up on it. It is a really good inventory management once you get used to it. I may have said that once or twice before. I thought I'd say it again. So what can you actually do with this? Let's pop down. Where did I leave that constructor? There. Let's pop that down, and I'll show you how that works. So things like the constructor, food processor, furnace, deconstructor, all those things that used to have an inventory as part of it no longer have an inventory. So you can't put things into the constructor per se. You basically queue up items and they pull stuff from boxes, produce what you need to produce, and push things back through to other boxes. So for instance, I've got 2 boxes on this one. I could have my raw materials in box 1, then I could put a construction queue going here and output it to cargo box 2. So everything I bring in, my ores, ingots, loot, etc., I could put into cargo box 1. The constructor will draw only from this cargo system, inventory system in 1, and it will only push things out to the inventory system at number 2. So that's basically how that works, and that works with everything that produces something. That includes your mobile constructors on your HV and your SV. It includes your food processors. It includes deconstructors, furnaces. What else is there? cuddly toy. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but basically anything that constructs or produces something, that's how it will have to be done now. So yeah, so I think that's the basics pretty much covered. So what can we do with it is what I was about to ask. Let's put my jetpack on and we'll have a look. So look at the HV for a start. So what I've done with this is, let's jump into it. What I have discovered with this inventory system, if you do want to have a basic inventory system on something like a HV, you do need more space now, because you need the controller cargo boxes to really make it work well, I feel. So let's have a look at the P menu in here. So I have an ammo box, I have a harvest module on the front and a harvest box, what we would call the old harvest box, and I've got two cargo box systems on here. So the cargo boxes, as I said, these are the controller boxes that have come up. I just renamed one loot and one for ship stores. So everything I need for my ship and for me personal items I'll put in the ship stores, so when I access this remotely I know where that's going to be, and anything I go out and find loot wise I can put into there. The good thing about this one is that if you find you need more loot, as long as you've got some additional cargo extension boxes on you, you can actually extend this system here. You don't need to keep putting more and more cargo boxes on. So I'll only ever have these two cargo boxes showing my P menu, but I can extend the size of these boxes as much as I wish. And the same with the ammo. You have a controller box for your ammo, and you have a control box for your ore and wood, your harvest box. Again, you can extend those as much as you wish, and I think that's the beauty of this system, is once you've got one of these controller boxes on there, you can just extend that one system rather than having tons and tons of cargo boxes as we would normally. And one thing I did forget to mention, which I'll just quickly do now, is that these systems do need to be separated. So I've got two different cargo systems here. What I can't do is join any of these cargo boxes together in the same system. They've got to be separated. Just pointing that one out. And that's the same on your HV, your SV, your CV. So I think that's a really good system for the HV, as long as you can accept that you need a little bit more space with your basic HVs when you start building them. When you start building the bigger HVs, it doesn't really matter anyway, because you'd put a ton of cargo on it anyway. And in this case, you're probably actually saving space in the long term by doing it this way. But certainly when you want to access it, much easier. And then I can connect, so my loot box, I can connect to my loot box, and as long as I'm within range of that, if I'm looting a POI, anything I pick up will go straight into this system rather than clogging up my own inventory. So yeah, really good system. Let me just disconnect from that. Yeah, so what can we do with it? Well, I'm going to go to sleep in the showroom, and then I'll show you. I'll be right back in a moment. Later. Okay, good morning. What a beautiful morning it is. Look at that. So, here's what I prepared earlier. What I've done here is I've built, I guess what you can call, the only thing you can call it is a factory. That's what it is. So, yeah. So I try to play around with a basic factory system that I think would be useful. These are the new generators, the new large generators. I think they look awesome. So I just stuck two of them on the back of this because I thought it really matched the look of the factory. So yeah, what I've got here is a factory system. Let's get back down to earth. Bump. Okay. So what I've done in here is I've put the kind of stuff that you would pretty much need on a base, and I've put a load of storage. So this side we have all our manufacturing side, and this side we have all our storage boxes that go back into the wall there. And like I said, all of these controller boxes, all the ones on the bottom row here are the controller boxes, and the systems have to be separated by at least one block, which they are. So what I've got here is a deconstructor, 3 constructors, 2 food processors, and a furnace tucked away at the end. And I'll show you the food processing system is one of the big changes with this. So like I said, none of these now have any inventory space within them. They purely pass stuff through them to construct or deconstruct and pass it back through to inventory systems. So what I've got here is an inventory system for any ores that come in that, or any deconstruct items will go into here. This feeds the deconstructor, so it comes from the ores and deconstruct system, and this and the furnace also gets fed from that cargo system, and both of these output to what I'm calling the materials box. So in here will be all the materials that you need to construct your general construction. So this is the general constructor. So this one feeds from all the materials box, which the furnace and the deconstructor will also feed into, and will be also where I put any materials that I go out and loot, and it comes out to the finished goods. Now, you know, finished goods are not particularly brilliant one for this to be. You're probably better off splitting it into something like HV, SV blocks, or CV base blocks, and different things. But you could have a number of different things that you could output to. But if you did that, you'd need different constructors for each set of stuff, because the constructor can only output to one cargo system, which is why I've done it like this. So you know, realistically, you're not going to have a ton of constructors, probably, but the constructor can only output to one cargo system, and that's a really important point, because sorting your stuff out, and like I said, normally I would have something like SV, HV blocks, cargo boxes for that, CV base blocks. Then I'd also have cargo boxes for things like deco blocks, things like that. So I'd have at least 3 different cargo sorting systems for the finished blocks. But with this, you can't do it unless you have a constructor dedicated for each type of block that you want to build, because it has to output to a single cargo system. And that's a really important point. Could be a little bit restrictive in regards to how you do this. You could still have different cargo boxes for all those different blocks, but you would, like before, you would have to manually move stuff to and from them. So one cargo system for all the finished goods, I think, is probably the most sensible way, and that's probably the way I will go in future. But remember, you can extend these cargo systems as much as you like, so that cargo box will have infinite space as long as I keep extending it. So there'll always be plenty of space for all of those finished blocks. So what's the next one I've got? Fuel and water. This one, again, brings stuff in from the materials system. So I've got Promethium stuff in there, and it outputs to my fuel and water cargo system, which is just here. What have I got? Meds. I'll cover that in just a second. Let's go to weapons and ammo. So this one will be dedicated to producing weapons and ammo, as the title suggests. Again, feeds in from the materials box, outputs to my weapons and ammo. And for this one, I've actually used a cargo box that's dedicated to the ammunition, and I've used that one because, again, you can extend this cargo system as much as you wish. This one currently has 72,000 storage on it. I should rename it tools as well, shouldn't I? It should be weapons, ammo and tools. Now, obviously your cannons and weapons will draw from this ammo box as well, but it will also act as storage for all my weapons and ammo as well, and that's probably how I will do that as well. And what was the other one? Yeah, that's the 3 constructors. So I've got another one here for meds. I've got a spare one there. So food processors. So I've got 2 food processors, one for processing food, one for processing meds. So these will draw from the fridges, and I've got more fridges. You will need more power if you do a system like this. I've got 4 fridges here. Let me just jump up there and I'll show you the fridges. So the fridges are storage units, so they will show up on your F4 menu, so you can access them remotely as well. So basically I've got 2 fridges dedicated to ingredients, one ingredients for meds, one for food. Then I've got a final fridge here that will push food that's completed into, and then a spare fridge, because the meds won't get stored in the fridge, they get pushed through to the cargo system. Now it would be really nice if we could extend the size of fridges, but maybe that will come. Elion, if you hear that, please do. So food processors, we can no longer store things in a food processor to do away with fridges. We have to have a fridge. Ho hum, too bad. So this is my food processing, so it will draw from that fridge that has the ingredients and it will output to the fridge for things to eat. The fridges will get full quickly, I would have thought, so you know, you may need to manually shift things around in that one. So my meds, surprise surprise, will draw from the fridge that has the ingredients for the meds, but it will output to the cargo system over here for my meds. So that's the basic kind of factory, just a real basic factory that I've got set up here. And this is probably the kind of thing that I will put together in a game when I play in survival games, and I think it's a pretty good system. The other stuff I've got on here, I have my Wi-Fi connector tucked away in the roof here. So we can connect to this, the factory. We can access all of these remotely. We can connect to any one of those boxes as well and shift things through, shift things around between boxes if we need to, between fridges. So yeah, really, really good. Yeah. So that's the basic factory, and sort of thing I think you can be able to do with this system so much better than it was before. The range, the final thing I think need to talk about. The range on this, let me connect to the factory, boom, and turn that on so we know how far away. Now that's distance is hanging over the core. The Wi-Fi unit is slightly further this way, so we're going to get a slightly bigger reading on that, but it'll start going out about now and we should get a warning. You're about to leave the remote logistics network, turn around to avoid disconnection. Okay, I shall indeed. Now we're in range, so it's nice to get those warnings. I think that's really useful. So the range might feel like it's pretty good, but actually it can be a bit restrictive. I was building this, I played around with a little storage unit attached to the showroom there, put a load of stuff into it to test building something from this, and I couldn't build the back of it from there. So it might sound like a long distance, but actually in reality it isn't. However, what I did, and now I should have, we go to finished goods. Let's disconnect and connect to that particular box. I'm going to grab some blocks. So, playing around with ways to extend it, what I would love to see from Elion is an expensive boost system that you can add to these networks. I wouldn't want it to be, you know, an infinite number that you can add together. So you know, I wouldn't want to see people being able to connect to a base that's the other side of a planet, for instance. But I think 2 or 3 boosts would be really good, but make the boost really expensive like the deconstructors are. That would be really good. So let me just get a bit closer to this base and see if I can use the connector base. So connector base, what you can do if you're building a little bit further away from the base is use the connector base system. Go till we're just about out of range. Let's pop that there. I should have brought the Wi-Fi thing with me. Sorry, be with you in just a moment. Now, one thing I want to test is if we switch off this Wi-Fi block in here, can we put another one somewhere? So using the connector base, I've put that block all the way over there. So what my intention is to put one of the Wi-Fi connectors on top of that to extend our range. Wi-Fi connector, there it is. So what I'm going to do is go in here and switch this one off. Equipment, is that where it is? Wireless connection. Boom. Let's turn that one off. Let's go place this one over here and see if this works. Do 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 do. Okay, so let's see if we can connect still. Yes, we can. So by doing that, let's move away, make sure we're actually connected to that one. So we would have been out of range by now. So basically you can extend your range. Yeah, good. So we're 200 meters away now. You can extend your range like that. I would, do it as a temporary measure. Switch off the one in your actual base, then you can use a temporary one just to move around the map if you're building something particularly big. Like for instance, if you're building a CV, this range just isn't enough. There's no way you could build a CV using this system and still be able to build the whole CV. But doing this, using the connector base and moving a Wi-Fi, plonking a Wi-Fi system on that block, turning off the main one in your base where your factory is or where your storage is, then you can extend the range that way. So that's my final little thing. So that's it. I hope you found that useful. That went on a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I think it's worthwhile doing a good tutorial on this particular system because I think it's such a powerful system. Inventory management is always a problem in any game, and anything I feel that can help regarding that is a good thing. A good thing indeed. It still needs some refining here and there, my feeling personally. But yeah, definitely a step in the right direction without any doubt whatsoever. So there we have it. Hope you found that useful. I had fun doing it. I don't usually do tutorials as such, but yeah, I felt it was necessary for this one. A very powerful system, as I said. Really good addition to the game. Was a little frustrating at first to try and work out how it was used properly. There aren't many tutorials out there for it, so yeah. Hopefully you found this useful. Please let me know in the comments if you did. Please let me know in the comments if you've discovered other ways to use this system that I haven't mentioned here. I'd love to know because I really like being able to fully use an inventory system. If you found any glitches with it, any problems with it or restrictions with it, let me know as well. Always useful. And until then, I'm Mondstadt and I will see you later. Bye.